Welcome back to Way Too Early. The latest polling from NPR, PBS, and Marist College shows that Americans are divided on the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. In this new survey, 48% of registered voters say they approve of the inquiry by House Republicans, while 49% say they disapprove. In a separate question, 42% expressed a favorable opinion of Biden compared to 52% who view him unfavorably. While those numbers are underwater and down for the president from previous Marist polls, we should note his favorability is still higher than Donald Trump's, who sits at just 38%. And in a hypothetical 2024 general election matchup, the poll shows Biden leading Trump by a single point, 49 to 48. That's, of course, within the margin of error and doesn't account for the inclusion of any possible third-party candidates. Once again, folks, the only thing we know about this race is it's going to be really close. Joining us now, NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. Good to see you, my friend. So let's start with some of these poll numbers and the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. The Americans clearly a divide here. There has been a sense among some Democrats that this is a huge overreach by Republicans, and it's blatantly partisan, and that while no president wants to deal with an impeachment inquiry, or if they go down the road to actual impeachment itself, they think this could be a political gift that voters will have a backlash against this. But these poll numbers suggest maybe not.
Not only do the poll numbers suggest that, but we've seen this movie before. Back before the 2016 election, the House Republicans opened up a Benghazi investigation effectively into Hillary Clinton, which then yielded all the questions about Hillary Clinton's emails, which hung over her campaign for basically the entirety of the campaign. At the very end, you had Jim Comey coming out just a couple days before the election to say there was nothing new on Anthony Weiner's laptop, that they'd already seen those emails when they had first exonerated, or at least said they weren't going to prosecute her in the summer. So the Republicans have reason to believe that they can have a damaging effect on a president with or a presidential candidate with an investigation, even if it goes absolutely nowhere. Obviously, everyone knew who was responsible for the deaths in Benghazi. It was the people who attacked the compound, not Hillary Clinton. So they've seen this before, and they've done it before, and maybe this will be a different outcome, but it's not new.
And the Republicans, as we noted earlier, saying the quiet part out loud, saying, yes, we hope this damages President Biden politically. Let's talk about the president's son, Hunter Biden. And we should be clear, of course, Hunter Biden is not a candidate for office. He has never worked in the White House. And again, many Democrats feel that is also trumped up charges. What's your analysis, though, as you talk to those in and out of the race in either party? Do they think that the Hunter Biden matter is going to impact voters next year?
I think they're worried that it may, and it certainly is something that is a distraction to the White House. I mean, there's effectively an entire White House unit devoted to dealing with investigations, so that includes the impeachment inquiry. Obviously, it includes Hunter Biden. I think that's why you're seeing at least part of the reason you're seeing Hunter Biden fight back. He's tired of being the prey. He's going to act a little more like the name Hunter. Goes out there yesterday and slams the House Republicans because the president himself can't do that as much.
Yeah.
It makes him look partisan, and the Republicans understand this. If you are forcing Biden to attack people who aren't on the ballot at the presidential level, meaning the House Republicans, over something that sounds bad for Biden, that's not helpful to him.
Yeah, and the White House has been clear that Biden won't address DOJ matters or matters with Congress like this. But as I reported this morning, not only is President Biden really worried about his son, but a lot of people close to the president are worried about the toll this whole thing will take on him, particularly as he ramps up for a re-election campaign. So let's shift to the Republicans now. Iowa caucuses, month away, if you can believe it. The polls are what the polls are. Donald Trump is way ahead, but we're seeing a lot of members of that field really descend on the Hawkeye state. What are some things you're going to look for here in these next few days before the holidays?
Yeah, I think the big thing is who's dumping a ton of money in there. When you dump money, that tells where your priorities are. And if you see Nikki Haley suddenly dumping a ton of money in there, maybe she thinks she's going to be able to beat Ron DeSantis out for second. I don't think there's any illusion on the part of any of these candidates that they're going to beat Trump. I mean, DeSantis has been for a long time playing down the importance of Iowa, even as he's essentially lived in the state.
Right.
So I'll look for that. And then, of course, you always look for sort of the momentum on the ground when you go talk to voters at events, when you go talk to county party chairs. Are they sensing any sort of difference in the report that they get back from voters?
So there had been some sense some months ago, there had been some reporting here and other places that there was a little bit of worry among Trump team about their effort in Iowa, that state that he didn't do all that well in 2016. Has that now gone away? How confident are they?
I think they're extraordinarily confident. I think there's a fine line between worry and just doing your due diligence, and they got caught somewhere in between that. So they were doing enough to make it look like they were worried, but they would characterize it as due diligence. And again, the polls really haven't changed in terms of, his standing in the state, which is basically, nearly half the Iowa voters prefer him.
And then briefly on that race for second, Haley versus DeSantis, give us just a snapshot as to where polls stand, and what does DeSantis need to do there in Iowa to even, frankly, make it to New Hampshire, where we know Haley is going to be stronger?
It's a big question, right? He's been keeping the donors going for quite a while here on this idea that he can get to a one-on-one with Donald Trump. But I think Iowa is affected at some level by New Hampshire. Not every voter, but I mean, this sort of discussion around it certainly is. And Haley is so far ahead of him in New Hampshire that it's something he's got to sort of make Iowans not pay attention to and say, hey, I'm your guy. I'm your Trump alternative. Stick with me. And so far, it seems to be working. We saw Haley peak at basically a tie with DeSantis, and then she's receded a few points. So we'll have to see. I mean, they are close enough that it is likely that they'll come out of there as a split decision as to the Trump alternative, which, of course, benefits only Donald Trump.
Only Donald J. Trump. Busy month ahead.